Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I believe this is the last match of this part of the Swiss bracketing. We've got blrasmu and Tracy are going to be racing each other today. And they should be getting started here in just a few moments. I see in the race chat room that they're getting started. So
Excellent. And the peanut gallery is here too occasionally.
we also have the peanut gallery. How you doing, Airframe?
Doing all right. I'm doing chores while I'm doing this, so this is going to be interesting. How's everybody out there?
So let's see.
Let me guess. They're starting the opening sequence.
It's the opening sequence. I'm trying to think of the runners. Tracy is a longtime Mother 1 speedrunner, and has recently gotten into Boogey, so that's kind of cool. Blrasmu has been in the Earthbound community for like ages. Like I remember seeing them around on Starman.net. I think they're also fairly new to speedrunning Earthbound, at least relative to most of the field. So I suppose where I'm going with this is I believe both runners have a lot of general knowledge about the game, but maybe aren't quite as practiced at specifically this speed run. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
I think it'll play out like any other Earthbound run. Chaos, fun, and fuzzy pickles.
Yeah, it's a guarantee. As long as you know the route, uh, you're pretty much you've got a chance no matter who you're playing against. Earthbound is that kind of game. The more experience you have, the better able you are to recover from bad situations, I would say. But there certainly are. If the game doesn't want you to progress, you won't. That is possible.
Yeah, if the cop gauntlet wants to get you, or if Ant just says you're done playing today, you're done playing for the day. Smash followed by a quick attack. Yeah, game over.
Yeah, we saw that, just yesterday evening. We saw an Ant smash for, I think, 61, right after another strong attack. There's nothing you can do about that.
You didn't pay your tribute to the Ant.
But we're not going to see any of that today, or we're going to see it for both runners, either or.
As long as it's equal.
Looks like Tracy's walk up and down the hill was just a hair more optimal, but it's fairly negligible in the grand scheme of things.
I was waiting for you to say, that's it, game over. It's been decided.
It's been decided. There it is. I mean, keep this in mind if they both finish Boogie Tent less than a second apart.
True. It had nothing to do with the protoplasm depth. Do I own the commentary curse now or later?
It could be both.
I just hope everyone forgets. Ari, what are you thinking in these first 3 minutes of the game where nothing's going on? What's going through your mind as you prepare for the run?
Ooh, for me, I worry about whether I left the oven on, what the cats are getting into. But seriously, I actually get really nervous before races, no matter how inconsequential they are. So usually I just spend that time worrying about something else.
Yeah, I get extremely nervous as well, and run to the bathroom a couple times to make sure I don't have to do anything in the middle.
Greetings from Anime Land. Greetings from Hamburger Land. How are you doing today? All right, Now we've actually begun. Both runners are starting the real hill climb, the one where you actually have enemies to worry about. Blrasmu actually doing a pretty good job, I would say, of catching the enemies on terrain. The spawns are rather unforgiving, and
Ooh.
can't do anything about that last crow there. But that was a good effort, I would say.
And from behind the tree, too. That
That's
bird
back.
really wants your cookie.
The game doesn't want you to progress, you won't, and kind of just got pushed over there. Not a lot you could do about that. That's all right. Reflect does have a good point. At a certain point, you could just take your L and choose a fight. That's always an option, but it's painful to take a fight on hill climb, especially if you don't think you need to. So I understand the decision to try to avoid it all at all costs.
I always think of that Mad Duck fight later on, whether or not you choose to deliberately run into it or you spend the time, however much time it'll take to get around that.
I should have taken the dog. Take the dog with you up the hill. I won't stop you. Even get that large sprite in the back, like you're not getting around any enemies. So, one fight difference on the hill climb. The Starman fight could easily make up that difference, so things are still very close.
There's so many things that can make up that difference. And I've already said enough bad things, I'm not going to list the rest of them. I'll leave that to you.
Do you get RE points for dodging a crow with King in the party? No, but you might maybe get an RE point if you try to dodge the crow with King in the party, fail, his back is clearly turned to the crow, but you got a green swirl. That might be worth an RE point. When is the tournament where you just try to max out RE points? I did think about throwing a little one-off garbage tournament, but I didn't know what kind of participation I'd get because it would probably be both over the randomizers and the vanilla game, and it would just
Look, we
be
can take a
weird
straw poll
objectives.
right now.
It would rarely be, just go beat Gygas or go beat Boogie Tent. It would probably be like, go buy the house. Clear the next boss, and I've left you with like a party with no money, and all of the kids are dead, and you have nothing.
Go buy the house with a full inventory of eggs on all 4 kids, with all the money spent already.
Oh yeah, that would be a real possibility too. You'd just get like, yeah, buy the house, and then you'd like go talk to vendors, and then you'd realize that I've changed all of the shops on you. Alright, so Starman fight, pretty random, not much you can really do to change this outcome. You're just kind of hoping that you don't get a guard on a turn when Buzz charges forward and Buzz does not smash, and you don't really want to see fires. Fires are really slow.
But they're warm and toasty.
Sandlot bets $5,000. You go bug that guy in Tucson and he just gives you 10 grand. Here, kid, go buy a juice or something.
That would be a funny change. But now that it's been mentioned, you can't do it.
If we have a sufficient lull at some point, I might throw it together. We'll see. I wish they all could be Summer's girls, ooh. No Summers today, we're just going to Boogie Tent. Well, unless somebody gets really lucky with that tent glitch at the end. Might be possible. Both runners had a pretty similar Starman fight, so I would say the difference between them is still about the same as it was before the fight. So, what, maybe 20, 30 seconds between them? Given that this run is going to probably take somewhere between an hour and a half, that's not very significant.
You say that now.
Oh, we've had plenty of close races. Don't get me wrong. I just want to point out that it's not like either runner is running away with this. House owner percent is a surprisingly interesting category. For anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, you can purchase the house in Onet in the bottom left corner, and what is it, $9,800 or something? I think it is.
I thought it was 7,500.
It might be less. Either way, though, deciding how to grind for all of that money is actually kind of an interesting problem as far as Earthbound goes. You have several viable strats. One of which is just try to play through the game as fast as possible, collect the money from bosses, and use that. You could also try to farm up Mediatites and do it that way. You could also just sit there and farm sharks all day. They don't maybe give as much money as the other routes, but you get the most time available to do it, so that's also actually surprisingly feasible.
Isn't it still faster to just play through the game?
I still don't... Felix and I raced this, like, good lord, like 8 years ago. Getting out of the retirement home. I don't remember who won. I chose the Mediatite route. I also tried to farm chickens, but I ran into that bug where if you die, then eggs stop hatching. And Felix just played through the game normally. I don't remember who won, but I do remember it was surprisingly close.
Yeah, I think the Mediatite, if you have good luck, is the fastest of all.
Yeah, if you're willing to gamble, absolutely. Oh yeah, we had the gentleman agreement of no manipulation, because otherwise, yeah, it's definitely Mediatite.
Oh yeah. You ruin the purpose of the mean run if you start manipulating it.
Tracy got the first Pogo Punk. There were quite a few attacks in there, but most of them missed, so that works out pretty nicely. We're at 32 HP. I don't know if we'll see the can of fruit juice here. Yeah, it looks like no.
Oh, I'm a big fruit juice person.
I think I agree with that at 32 HP. If I think it'll buy me an extra attack, I will absolutely get the fruit juice, but I think 32 is exactly my threshold of not getting it.
What, you don't like garbage juice?
Alright, so, back in the day, oh good lord, what was this? RPG Limit Break, I think? Daniel RGT and I did a co-op any percent run. I forget, did I have the D-pad and Daniel had the right half of the pad, I had the left half of the pad, because I remember Daniel would just open a menu on me and I'd be like, oh yeah, you want this, okay. Anyway, so I went into the shop and we replaced the entire inventory with cans of fruit juice. That's where the story was going. So yes, I love garbage juice. That is also a good point, yeah. Whether you'll bread roll to full after the yes man, you could probably keep that in mind too. That's a good point. Tracy's fighting Frank. I don't see anything too crazy there. Frank's down. Pretty normal fight, I would say. No smashes, no crazy knives for 28 or something. Frankenstein should be smooth sailing. blrasmu getting the opening miss on Frank. That's the worst. I hate it. I hate missing anywhere, but Frank is the worst place to have it happen.
Here, take my back. Oh, let me open myself for a slash.
Interesting to me, blrasmu is actually using the burgers before using all the psychic points. I would definitely prefer to spend the psychic points first on the off chance I get to save at least a burger.
That is a little odd.
Oh, the Frank smash! There it is. I cursed it, except the life up saved. So all right, we're safe. Frank's down.
We got through. That's all that matters.
Got through with a Frank smash. Frankie Stein should be smooth sailing as well, although technically, in the absolute worst case, this could fail.
You have to be pretty low on resources for it to go really bad, and that's just to be sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, only got one life up available, so you're pretty much already in auto fight territory. So, enough misses it could happen, but it looks like we're safe today. That's about as bad as Frank and Frankie Stein can go without just, like, having the worst stats, the old anti-RPG limit break stats, where Frank knifes you for like 26 or 28, and you're just like, I guess I lose, I don't know.
We're just gonna take 4 deaths here in Onet and try to come in under estimate.
Optimally for healing on the Frankie Stein fight. Unless you've gotten yourself in a position like where your hit points are so low, you want to heal on the turn where he's going to punch you. Now, if you have like, depending on your mashing abilities or if you have turbo, right? If your HP's under maybe about 24, then maybe you want to take the heal right away. But otherwise, you want to try to time it so you take one extra punch and heal that damage. Yeah, I can talk about that slightly more. So Frankie Stein actually does the first turn, or sorry, the first like set. He's always going to do burst of steam and attack. That's his attack pattern. The first attack that comes through is always a weak attack. The subsequent attacks could be a weak or strong attack. So that's particularly why it matters a little, because if you eat that strong attack, maybe it's going to do mortal damage, and you actually kind of basically save a couple hit points that way. Because you are under 0 and then you'll heal up to full instead of just taking more damage. If that makes sense. Seeing some burger strats, I strongly recommend it for races. You definitely want to do things that will... It's good to go fast, but it is far better to go kind of fast but consistent in races.
Yeah, be here to peter yourself out so early just for the riskiest biscuit out there.
Yeah, and choose where you're going to take your risky strats.
Leave it to the spots that don't let you play.
Yeah, Ant is a huge time loss. That'd be one of the last safety strats I took away. That's right, staying alive important. Unless you don't want to. Yeah, you could... But you could always do the strat. Technically, it's fastest if you're incredibly lucky. Not Death Warp out of Peaceful Rest Valley. Just walk back through. So we're on the slug grind. Tracy's been having an okay time of the slug grind. blrasmu is just getting started and kind of got forced up into that room from all of the mice. Maybe didn't feel confident stuttering away from them, which is totally understandable. Stutter stepping, I'll very briefly explain in case anyone hasn't heard of it. If you just kind of lightly tap the D-pad in a direction, for these enemies that only move when you move, you can actually tap it so lightly that they don't start moving while you move just a little bit. So you can keep doing that over and over, and it kind of looks like the character's stuttering as they walk. So that's why it's called the stutter step. But the point of the slug grind here, you want to get up to level 8 so you can get yourself your favorite thing, Alpha, as an offensive move. Ant is really, really tough if you don't have access to that because he's got two. They look like black antoids behind him, and I mean they are labeled that, but the only moves those particular antoids know is life up. So you really got to take those out. That's a sweet effect there. Blrasmu running on an actual console there, and the capture got all fuzzy. Is that what that was? That's neat.
Fancy.
Mine used to do that when I was still on the old Amaret capture card. I was always
Oh,
accompanied
Amarek.
by it was accompanied by loud static, so it became Amarect.
And the Amarek shuffle and the Amarek crash.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't. I mostly just had the weird like graphical static garbage. I never. I guess I don't remember if it was never, but very rarely at least I had crashes, so that wasn't as big a problem for me.
After I got the crash in the middle of a PB run, I was so mad. I moved to NPC. So
One.
mad.
Oh, that's what I should do. All right, all right. I got to get back into Boogie percent. I got to get a PB. I have to record it on a Betamax and send it to Andy for him to verify. That's what I
Yes.
need to do.
They can play
Can't go
why it's
wrong
not
there.
verified in 2 days.
And then Andy will send it back. The tape got eaten. What is this? Sell it on eBay in 20 years. There you go.
Random person plays Earthbound.
There could be anything on this tape.
It could be treasure.
Gotta like really, really get the quality of that down though. Like have it play like 2 minutes of some All My Children episode and then the Earthbound speed run and then the very end of whatever All My Children episode it was. Tracy doing the grind on the second floor. This isn't a thing I've seen very much. Is this a new strat or is this an interesting strat? I really don't know.
Is it
Okay,
is
maybe
it grinding or is it the old progressive 16 route?
yeah, it might be. It might be the just
Back in my day when I participated in a tournament, that was a hot strat.
it makes sense to minimize how far you have to walk once you've hit the level you want. So I understand taking the fight on the third floor. But I always get distracted just like I am now and I don't count how many things I've fought, so I just find out and I'm like, ah crap, I better go up there. Yeah, I got got caught trying the stutter. I respect going for it though. With just one Antoid, absolutely, I would give that a shot. Okay, just gonna keep trucking along. That's probably for the best. That's fine. So with stutter stepping, there is actually kind of a sweet spot with how long you want to hold the D-pad down. If you do it for very short amounts of time, you don't move very far each time you do it. So if you do it on the wrong frame and the enemy is still moving when you move, then you kind of have a problem. So it does take some practice. There's a little more finesse than just like tapping the button as lightly as possible. There's like, what is it, like 4 frames maybe is probably the duration you're aiming for. I think, it's 8 frames before they catch you and then 4 frames once they see that you've moved, something like that.
That does sound about right.
And this is an illustration of why, in general, we don't grind on black antoids, is because they can call for help, and then you're kind of just stuck in the fight forever, and it's not very fun.
They like parties.
Tracy is just gonna keep barreling on. To be fair, just down like maybe a burger or two, so like it's not a big deal. Until it is a big deal.
I got worried for a second that they didn't heal, and I had to wait for the screen to pop up.
And opening with a magnet, as long as it's not followed up by a second magnet, that's perfectly fine. And it is. The old commentator curse. One rockin' on Ant is gonna hurt. Ooh, but followed right up with the smash. It don't matter. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Alright, 3-second delay. That's all you need. 3-second delay.
There's the shield alpha, but there's another smash. Okay, yeah, if you smash Ant twice, you'll definitely get through.
We're through. That's all that matters. Tracy can track you down in DMs later for the curse.
Cursed right into a smash. I'd take that curse every day.
Until Ant smashes back.
These ad breaks are out of control. Twitch. Alright, blrasmu, let's see how Ant goes here. Opening with a weak attack, that's okay, that's pretty typical. I think it's about 50% for him to open with that, so... Literally the most likely thing. And he wants to spam shield alpha, that's fine. If he already has one up, put it up as many times as you want. Yep, and it looks like we're going with the classic safe strat for Titanic Ant, which is definitely what I recommend for races. If you take any kind of hit, just heal. If you take a strong hit, then if you have it available, use your life up then. But usually I just use it pretty early, because usually those points get magneted away. If Ant is a gigantic jerk and Ness has ant debris in his eyes, then sometimes this still doesn't work out. But this is about the most likely chance you'll get for getting through the ant fight. If you keep getting strong attack after strong attack, you may actually have to double up on using hamburgers.
And that's only if they're not back-to-back. With the bad pattern of healing.
I think this was it. So we're pretty much in it. Oh, there's the Ant Smash. Cursed it. But Ant goes down. There you go. So blrasmu with the Frank Smash survived it. With the Ant Smash, but survived it. I'm just cursing all the runs. There went the ad. All right. So if anybody missed that, blrasmu had a really tight fight against Ant. Used all of their resources. Took another Ant Smash. But it's okay, because Ant went down.
Huzzah.
The gap between the two runners has widened just a little bit, maybe 1 minute-ish in total. But these are still both looking to be pretty good times so far. We'll see how Captain Strong does.
I think that's a telephone. Sorry, I got distracted. That's a telephone jack on my wall that I haven't removed yet.
I have one right behind me. And I did. I had it wired up for like a year when I moved in. And then I was like, why do I have this?
I had it until the fax machine was taken away from me by work.
Oh, there, yeah, I could just get phone service and then just use it as a fax. And then AT&T
Yeah.
will call me in 3 months and be like, what is this? So Tracy's on the cop fights. There are 4 regular cops that you have to fight in a row, no breaks in between, and then you fight Captain Strong at the end. The cops have a very diverse movement set. If your name is Ari, then they know Crushing Chop, Crushing Chop, Crushing Chop, and Crushing Chop. They might maybe, if you're lucky, grace you with a basic attack, but all they know is Crushing Chop. The Crushing Chops are basically strong attacks. Regular attacks are just regular strength attacks. The way the math works out, a Crushing Chop probably does just a hair more than twice as much damage as a regular attack. Needed a fax for the first time in years? You should check your local library.
I think last year I was asked to, do you have a fax line? I'm like, no, the company don't pay for that anymore.
Back when I worked at the school, I actually used the crap out of a fax machine. Used it a little bit at the nuke plant too, but not too much at the current place.
It was enough to justify me having a phone line for another year usually.
Tracy getting that opening turn heal on Strong, it's really nice when he lets that happen. So you can just do the double rock and get through. So just under 32 minutes for Onet for Tracy. That's competitive. That's a good time.
It's
I know
respectable.
there are totally people that get it under like 30 minutes every time somehow, and I'm not one of those people. 32 minutes, perfectly fine.
I'm just happy getting out of Onet in under 40.
Bingo. No ant deaths. No cop deaths. That's good enough. Oh, look at that. We got the hamburger. Bonus hamburger. Correct. Yeah, you fight 4 cops and then you'll fight the captain.
Pocket burger. Just think the cop is laying there on the floor, he reaches in the pocket and takes the burger out.
The mushrooms you see on Tracy's screen, they have a relatively small aggro radius where they'll like come and try to fight you, so you can just kind of walk in a wide circle around them to get around them, like you see there. Just so you don't feel like you gotta despawn the world. There is some stuff you can just avoid.
I better leave that phone jack there. That's a hole in the wall.
Tracy looks like gonna do the classic setup for the Death Warp. Maybe. This is a complicated ATM. It's okay. I haven't used one in a long time either. Yeah, okay. blrasmu also opting for the opening turn heal. If you get submission hold, you will wish that you did that heal, especially if one of those Rockins misses. But blrasmu is through 34-minute Onet, so it looks like my guess was off by about a minute. So they're about 2 minutes apart. So Tracy does have a small lead at this point, I would say. However, it is definitely still anybody's race.
So many friendly things that can happen.
Which, yeah, that's a good point, especially now when the runners are just going to kind of be walking to their next destination and otherwise just avoiding enemies. If anybody in chat does have questions about stuff you've seen in the run so far or about the runs in general, feel free to ask. You are more than welcome to. Tracy getting a pretty clean walk through the first set of the. Is this what Slug calls the fart caves? Is that those?
I think that area, yeah. I don't know how that started. I don't know the actual story behind it other than her just being her.
Anyway, there's often spawns in those caves. It's easy to get stuck there on a door just going back and forth until there aren't enemies. So when you can just get a clean walk through like that, it's very nice.
I'm sure chat will inform us.
On Tracy's screen, also, you don't have to walk all the way up to the pencil and talk to it or check it or whatever to get Apple Kid to do his thing. It just needs to be loaded in memory. I think most runners that I've seen still kind of opt for actually seeing it on the screen, but you can just go to where you know it's loaded in memory. That is good enough. But boy, it's scary to save a eighth of a second to maybe miss it and have to walk the whole way back. So unless you're doing manip, just barely poke it on the screen. That's fine.
Look for that little grass clump.
This is a good point too. Tracy taking the butterfly here. You don't get a heal after you fight Captain Strong. So unless you're going to go sleep in a hotel or something, which is really slow, you need some way to get your resources back. And there's a couple. Let's see what. There's 2 nearly guaranteed butterfly spawns on the walk back, as well as several other places where butterflies are likely. So typically, you'll see runners pick up butterflies as they go, whatever's just convenient on the way. And
especially if you're low health early on.
Tracy's picking up a skip sandwich there. That's fun.
Wonder if we're going to see some swag dodges in PRV because of that.
It's become a lot more popular lately. I personally like to blame the randos for that because everyone that plays them has gotten a lot more practice at fast movement and dodging enemies. But actually, way back in the day, and I mean like we're talking like Skateman, Mickey Mage days, the skip sandwich was popular for a similar reason. So the pendulum's just kind of swung back towards skip sandwiches are more useful than just the time it saves when you walk. And I do agree with that.
It's only a matter of time before we see the copper bracelet pick up again, too.
Oh, Lord. I hope not. Defense in Earthbound is not very valuable in general. So that's why, both in this speedrun and in general, we do get the copper bracelet and the regular baseball cap because it is kind of necessary for Frank. But that's pretty much it as far as defense items go. We'll get the Holmes hat, or rarely a runner will opt for the hard hat up here in the top part of Peaceful Rest Valley. But that's pretty much it for the entire run for defensive items, for the purpose of defense.
I get it. You're more of an offense is the best kind of defense kind of person.
Well, in this game, absolutely. my defense is going faster. The HP just rolls down. I take. blrasmu's walk has been fairly clean as well. It hasn't been too bad. Tracy's making good progress through Peaceful Rest Valley. Almost got pickled there earlier, but got through it. I didn't want a commentator's curse it, so I didn't want to bring it up while I was seeing it. But yeah, so the hazard with Peaceful Rest Valley when you try to despawn is that when you walk backwards, you might get a spawn on the other side. Nice dodge. Blrasmu catching another enemy on the terrain there. Very good at that. I appreciate skills like that. That's nice. So, yeah, in Peaceful Rest Valley, you can try to despawn, you get enemies behind you, then you walk forward, you have enemies in front of you, and then you go, well, guess I'm stuck. Kind of like the concept of baseball, pickling. Throw the ball back and forth between two fielders and get the runner out. But Tracy is through Peaceful Rest Valley, very nice. Did not step on any snakes, I appreciate that.
Cowards.
No step.
Yep.
So, like I mentioned, here it is. The last defense item you buy in the entire run for the purpose of defense. You'll still use pendants for, like, resistances, but it's not for the defense stat.
When we get into those randos, those items that are outside of the vanilla run, I always have to look at a cheat sheet on what's where and what does what.
Ancient Caves kept me pretty up to date on what random items do. And then, yeah, I don't remember what's in presents that I didn't consider useful, but in some presents that are, like, rarely useful, I might still remember what's actually in them along the walk. Tracy, starting the, Did we call this the shack fight and it's actually the cabin fight? Is that the consensus here?
Check fight.
Whatever. Shack, cabin, whatever. So you're going to rock in these guys. If you get a really lucky roll, then you'll actually take one out. Or two or even three of them. Look at that. So, in this case, with one cultist down, you probably can just bash it out. And that's really nice. That works out. You get a whole bunch of psychic points for Cart Painter that way.
And the crow went down early on, too, so it's just not annoying you.
That is the Invincible Crow. Popular Earthbound meme.
RPG Jerkbird.
But yeah, if you don't get either cultist down, my personal preference is definitely to no step on snake. Jeez.
Yes, step on it, step on it.
-1 RE point.
Send it back to Ireland.
If you don't take out any cultists, then do 2 Rockins. It's a way better than dying in that fight and having to walk the whole way back.
Would a step on snake disqualify you from an RE tournament?
It depends on the tournament.
Outside of the hill climb.
Yeah, no, it depends on the tournament. That could be like a condition for some RE race in the future. No step on snake. And then I just replace every random spiteful crow tile with coil snakes that are level 99 so they don't run from you.
And
they don't have different stats. You'll still punch them and then they die and then you stepped on snake and then you lose. But
oh, just give it extremely high speed too, so you have to wait forever to run.
100%, but you grind exclusively on snakes. Sheesh. Alright, we're gonna have the cabin fight on one screen and Cart Painter fight on the other. Here we go. Which means the 2 runners are still about equally spaced apart. Ooh, we got an opening reflect. That's for 148. That's almost max. That's huge. Definitely. Yep, there's the rockin'. Agree 100% with that. I would probably follow it up with another one. Go to town. Go to town. Didn't go
Send
to
it.
town.
Come on. Send it.
I would have. At 30 psychic points, full send. I kind of understand, though. Tracy's probably trying to set up a little bit better for the Death Warp that's coming up. Has 79 hit points now, so that part's a little rough.
So would you still go to Mole, or would you go to an alternative enemy?
Really depends. Because the bears are way far inside. The ones in Peaceful Rest Valley are not very good to Death Warp off of, so you're pretty much stuck going to the mall. If you somehow accidentally kill the mole, then sure, wander farther in and get the bear, but it's pretty much just mole. blrasmu got an extra cultist in the cabin fight, trying to say cabin instead of shack. But 2 rock and strat worked out fine.
Shabin fight.
Luffy 2 Ancient Cave does do runs in a similar fashion. Ooh, I like that. I'll have to check that out. Thank you for
Alright,
the
we'll have to
heads
plan
up,
behind the
RFC.
scenes after this.
Yeah, sometimes the mole's angry, and then sometimes the mole like left his glasses by his nightstand and gets confused about where he is and
Coming up
doesn't
to
want
be
your
headed.
ATM card. So it'll be interesting here to see how the Death Warp does actually play out. This could potentially be an opportunity for blrasmu to close this gap. If it works out perfect. Through the single cultist fight, nothing crazy there. And Tracy definitely just fighting the mole. Here we go. Opening with an attack on Ness. That's ideal. Look at that. Easy game. Another attack. It missed. That's the mole I'm familiar with.
There we go.
And now he's confused. All right, we're back in familiar territory for Ari. But yeah, so on the mole, you just want to use ATM card with Ness so that he doesn't defend and take less damage. Let fall a bash for 1 to get rid of the confusion. Car painter. Okay, there's 1 reflect so far, so we're in okay shape. Yeah, that rockin' was too late. With 36 psychic points, you probably could just open with Rockin' anyway, but I understand not doing so.
Yeah, I go for like a triple rockin' out onslaught. Use up all the points.
Somebody out there would complain that you didn't do the life up on the attack turn, however, blrasmu had 7 HP, so chose the correct time to life up.
Just don't do it on the turn, we'll go back onto car painter.
Do it, that's worth an Ari point.
Is this the RE tournament?
It could be. Maybe the runner with the 3rd most Ari points will get mailed a $5 Subway gift card. Who knows?
Temple, we're officially petitioning to pivot the tournament halfway through.
And then it'll turn out to be Octo, and it'll cost me $40 to ship a $5 gift card to Japan.
Just go digital, my friend. Digital.
Mail them the Betamax. There we are. Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone. If you know the name of the movie you'd like to see, press 1 now.
Oh, who actually started the ads? Thank you, Twitch.
Using your touchtone telephone, please enter the first 3 letters of the movie you would like to see.
You have selected Care Bears.
You have selected. If that is correct, press 1. GHI. What am I going to do with that? Hig.
I'm sorry, going back to previous menu.
Alright, we're back. So, for anybody not watching chat, blrasmu had a super fast death warp. That was like almost perfect. That was great. So that probably did actually save a little bit of time. Although I kind of
30
missed
seconds.
the marker to tell exactly how much. We'll see here. And then I'll probably be proven wrong, but that's okay.
Who needs proof when you got spirit?
So Tracy lights raised on the house at 51:45. So anything sooner than 53:45 would mean that blrasmu did in fact gain some time there. But we are now 2/3, 3/4 of the way maybe through this run, so we are getting closer to the end. We still have the graveyard walk, we still have the entire Jeff sequence, which can be pretty obnoxious. And then, of course, the man, the myth, the Boogey tent himself. So there's still plenty of opportunity for a lead change here. When is the next race? So after this, we'll be able to punch in all the info and get the new bracket set up, and everybody will schedule. So at the moment, nothing is scheduled, but it'll be probably in the next few days.
Yeah, right after this, I'll get Swiss Round 4 set up, so it'll be as soon as the next pair of races schedule.
And Octopus Gal, thank you very much for the raid. Yeah, that's right, scheduling percent.
Octo-Raid!
Scheduling percent has one of the trickiest routes of all time. Now I'll be curious to see if we see the skip sandwich get used here in the graveyard to dodge some of these enemies, if necessary. Like this. Oh, no, you're... Okay, you might have a route out. That's not the route out. I was thinking down left. You'd run into new spawn plates, but you might have had a small chance of getting out. Okay, so these flies are too fast. You'd have no chance of running away on the first turn, so you're definitely gonna get smacked. There's not, with no psychic points, there's pretty much no solution here. So you're just gonna take the death and try again. So there is our first not intentional death of this particular race. However, it's probably the least consequential. So that's good news for Tracy, at least. Still got some time on the skip sandwich. And there we go. Keen eyes will notice there were flies up on that topmost path. You gotta watch out for those. It can look all clear, but if it feels laggy at all, you need to have your eyes just staring at that top part of the screen, because flies will absolutely get you up there. So, small time loss, but not a big deal, and Tracy is still in the lead, so. Use it by mistake when you're using the Cam Key games, like, what sandwich? I assume the timer's running during that entire little section of movement code where Paula walks over and gets the teddy bear and stuff. So I imagine that is the reason why. blrasmu almost getting caught by those flies. Those aforementioned flies. Yeah, there you go. That's a better route to go to not get caught by those flies. There you go. Once again, for just a moment, we're kind of here in cutscene plotland. You can, maybe save a second or so if your movement's optimal, but
I
nothing
hate
crazy
this
is gonna
plot.
go on here.
Maxwell triggers me so much. So I didn't get to ask this of you earlier. What do you think the pencil eraser looks like?
Let's see. The pencil eraser. It's probably like a small box with like a little window on one end of it, and then like a pink pencil eraser button that activates it.
All right, that's different. Still relying on some classic tropes there, but different.
Why? What do you picture it as?
Well, I've said this a couple times before, but I think of some wacky stuff like could it be a giant pencil grinder and you just take it and grind it down to the ground? Or is it a crowbar that just plops it into the water and throws it out of the screen?
I assume it's something that has to work in an area, because they tell you not to use it near a store that sells pencils.
Or we just went crazy the other night and decided it was just like an explosive, and that's why they tell you not to use it near any places that sell stuff.
Well, it could be. Alright, we're back in it. Tracy's got the walk. Now we got Bubble Monkey. Bubble Monkey's a jerk. He's going to move kind of like you see there, where he thinks for a little bit and faffs about and then runs back towards you. Sometimes you can actually use that movement to your advantage and get a green swirl on an enemy, but most of the time it's just going to not help you. You can't really control when Bubble Monkey's going to do that. You can kind of try to bait it out, move back and forth, wiggle a bunch until he does it, and then try to walk, but sometimes he'll just do it back to back like that and that. So, and that. So you can, and that. So you can see why that doesn't necessarily work. We might be going Tessie to Tessie here. Alright, key element here. As it did happen the other day. Don't forget to equip these items that you just picked up. Tony will yell at you if you don't equip any of them. However, if you only equip one of them, Tony won't say anything. So if you, if you forget, or it seems like you're mashing through a bunch of text or something, consider equipping the item. Plus the Tessie ride, you get that sweet trumpet part too. It might be. It might be exactly Tessie to Tessie. Just gonna bloop down off of one screen. Come right back up on the other screen. That would be, ooh. That would be difficult to implement, but it would be really funny to me for these RE races. Funnel everyone through Winters, but Tessie can only funnel one player across at a time. Sorry, the Tessie is currently in use. No problem with first protoplasm. That's usually the biggest jerk on this whole adventure, so Tracy... I mean, things could still go poorly, but Tracy's in pretty good shape here so far. Reverse Tessie looks so weird. I don't know why. Nice dodge, nice dodge. Tracy hitting third protoplasm skip, very nice. Yeah, nice opening for Pond Cave. Allowed into the room. That's always a good start. The stuff in the open area here is usually stutterable, and I would generally recommend trying to stutter this. It's not like you're going to get yourself stuck in this... Yep, there it is. One proto-death for blrasmu. It's also fairly inconsequential as deaths go. It just kind of makes it 1-1 on both sides. That's probably the most likely place to take a death in this entire race, so that's not surprising. But yeah, in the first part of the pond cave, all of the enemies are stutterable, so you don't have to worry about like stuttering forward and then getting caught by a mushroom or something, and then having to stutter back to despawn it. we're back to 2 protoplasms again. Geez, Billy. 2 protoplasms? It's not a good place to be. I might consider the runaway strat here if it were me. This is maybe getting close to long enough.
I haven't seen a lot of runaway strats this year. I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
My daughter, who's currently dressed up Princess Peach, came and found me.
Nice. Bubble Monkey with the smash keeps the worthless protoplasm feeling strange. Weird quirk of smash, fun fact. Shoot also keeps the feeling strange thing intact. So, all right,
I like that as
through.
a little. I like that as a little bonus feature. I think of it as like a good incentive for rolling on the luck. Even though it's guts.
Yeah, overall, Tracy not giving up much time on this pond cave in general, though. So, looks like it's
your best friend's coming up.
It's just gonna come down to Boogey time. So far, I would say both runners have had pretty similar luck. They both had 1 death each. Both were pretty small and consequential deaths, as far as they can be in Earthbound. I think Tracy's movement was maybe just a little more optimal overall and has saved enough time over the course of this race that it is going to make the difference here, assuming that Boogey 10 plays nicely. But also keeping that in mind, this also means Tracy does have enough time available to make a safety save. So, if you're in this position,
saved me a couple times.
Yeah, if you're in this position and you know you're in this position, definitely take the time. You could buy a bottle rocket or something if you want as a safety strat, or just go make the save. The reason for that is if you fail against the first fight against Boogie Tent, you're only probably got enough money in the bank to make a second attempt and maybe possibly a third attempt, and then that's it. That's all you got. So if you know you're in this situation, definitely take the safe strat. Also, I'm like the only runner that ever actually dies to Boogie Tent, so I mean, you can just YOLO it if you want, but
my last PB attempt ended with a death to Boogie Tent, so
blrasmu with the stutter stepping to get through there. And considering the stutter step here as well. So this is scary if there's a mushroom in the third area, but it's a low spawn and it's just another mouse. So keep up the stutter step and you'll be fine. And it works out.
And an interesting thing to do is if you think you're solo and you know you're not good at stuttering, is you could take the fight as long as it's solo, because you have that gun there that can speed up your fight a lot faster than it would be in a giant step.
Yeah. Especially if it's just like a slug or something that you can fight. Yeah, that's not bad.
But you never know, because that stuff comes far from off screen to come join the fight. All of a sudden, there's a shroom on there.
Small point there, but it was perfect, and I just want to point it out. blrasmu's probably going to rock over and get get the bottle rocket, but parked Bubble Monkey directly under the rope so he didn't have to like kind of slowly float over to the right spot. It was perfect positioning. That's all. I just wanted to point it out.
No, that's great. Small time saves like that are fantastic. Alright, Tracy should be picking up the teddy bear here.
Definitely, especially if Tracy is aware of the lead that they've got. That said, the difference between the runners is just one sour boogie fight, so
No extra items, no safety save. Going right for it.
It's okay. I'm the only one that ever dies to tents. It'll be fine. Defend BBR is definitely the opening strat to use. But if Jeff takes a big ol' whiff with this thing, then you're really in trouble. 376. So there's quite a bit of work left to do in the fight, but you'd probably be fine.
Freeze, that's okay. We can miss the freeze.
Bottle rocket hit as well, so
That should do it. Yeah, there we go.
There we are. So GG's to Tracy. Blrasmu should be not very far behind at all. Good, clean racing, as the kids say. Oh look, it's even gold in the capture. You gotta get all wound up about it. Oh my god! Is that a PB? Or is it like me and I just always have to reset my splits every time because it never wants to save correctly? PBs in race, definitely an RA point. Like half of my PBs are in races. Both runners clearing the Jeff Joy boss. That was also way back in the day. Probably, what, 7 years ago, maybe? I think it was Rivers doing a Boogey percent run. It was on PB pace, too, if I remember right, or really close. And then right there when Jeff joins, the game just said Jeff Joy and then froze. And then started playing the Skyrunner theme remixed with the door sound instead of the snare hit. So that's the Jeff Joy meme for those that don't know. I've still got the video around somewhere. We got a bonus no good fly. You can just freeze the single fly. That'll be okay. You're gonna get a bunch of levels here, but like whatever, you were gonna get them after Boogie Tent anyway. So even though this seems like a big time waste, it's actually you were gonna waste this time anyway. This also makes the Boogie Tent fight a lot safer, because Paula will have access to PSI Fire.
Fire!
Let's see it. 578. So pretty much anything will do. Just blow on them. And there you go. GG's to blrasmu. And again, pretty solid times, good clean racing. I'm glad nobody took any kind of like ant deaths or Frank deaths or cop deaths or car painter garbage. Just a nice, normal race. All right, so let's see. Currently, we don't have any more races scheduled. Comma, however, we'll be putting out the new brackets probably later today, and then racers will be getting their matches scheduled for the next week. Expect a similar volume of races this week as the last few weeks. And thanks everybody for coming out for the Earthbound Super Series.